So we've covered a whole bunch of stories recently about how, since Roe versus Wade got overturned, very extremist policies in red states have been implemented or were, triggered to take effect immediately. Some of the things that we saw in Ohio, for example, a 10-year-old rape victim was denied an abortion. Nightmare scenario. In Louisiana, there was a woman who had a skull-less fetus who was going to be forced to carry to term. Another nightmare scenario. You had, there was a 16-year-old in Florida who was told, you're not mature enough to decide to get an abortion. But apparently you are mature enough to carry the fetus to term and have a baby. So this stuff is rolling in all throughout the country. Well, now, look at this one. State abortion bans are preventing cancer patients from getting chemotherapy. This one's also in Ohio, which happened to be the same place where we got the 10-year-old rape victim story. Affidavits in Ohio show people had to leave the state for abortions before they could get cancer treatment. It's an issue across the country. A 6-week abortion ban in Ohio has forced people with cancer to travel out of state for abortions that are necessary to continue with life-saving treatment, according to affidavits submitted by abortion providers in the state. In at least 2 cases, cancer patients have been blocked from receiving treatment until their pregnancies were terminated, and getting an abortion required them to leave the state. The cases underscore how abortion bans, even those with exceptions to save the life of the pregnant person, have upended patients' lives and limited doctors' abilities to provide essential medical treatments. After Roe v. Wade was overturned in June, Ohio banned abortion at 6 weeks of pregnancy, a law that was blocked by courts on September 14th. That abortion ban has an exception for saving the life of the pregnant person, and though the law does not criminalize pregnant people, medical providers can face a year in prison for providing abortions past 6 weeks, along with additional fines. Abortion is currently available up to 20 weeks of pregnancy in Ohio, while the law is blocked. It's not clear when it will take effect again, but the affidavits show in the 2.5 months that the state's 6-week ban was enforced, the law had drastic consequences. The Ohio affidavits, part of a case challenging the constitutionality of Ohio's 6-week ban, illustrate a much broader phenomenon, said Layla Zahedi-Spung, a maternal fetal medicine physician in Tennessee, where abortions are banned entirely. In many states that are enforcing abortion bans, she said, physicians are navigating the same conundrum, and the risk of being jailed is likely deterring them from offering abortion to patients who would need them to start chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is typically not advised for people in their first trimester of pregnancy since it can harm fetal development or even increase the risk of miscarriage. Since Roe was overturned, doctors have attested that language around medical exceptions to abortion bans is vague and confusing. Many clinicians have reported that they do not feel safe providing an abortion, even if it is the correct and appropriate form of care, until the patient's condition has progressed to the point where they could die imminently. This is a big issue that we've covered before as well. When they say if the life of the mother is in danger, they mean imminently. So even if there's, a woman with a condition where it will eventually be imminent danger to her life, you're not allowed to give her the abortion now to prevent the imminent danger to her life. They need to be literally dying on the table in order to get the abortion. Think about how extreme that is. This is crazy. And again, we're not even talking about the situations where some red states want to go all the way to say, I don't want any exceptions whatsoever. I mean, Herschel Walker is running on that, even though he paid for one abortion and tried to pay for another abortion. Unbelievable. I don't know anybody that would feel comfortable treating a pregnant patient with cancer because I don't feel like they're nearly dead enough, Zahedi-Spung said. The threshold that I am holding in order to provide abortion care is basically almost dead to try to avoid being arrested and jailed. So they are scaring the providers into backing off of the right thing. In one Ohio case described in an affidavit by Planned Parenthood Southwest Ohio Medical Director Sharon Liner, a 25-year-old woman with cancer was already undergoing chemotherapy before she learned she was pregnant. When she discovered her pregnancy, doctors told her she was unable to continue receiving her cancer treatment while pregnant. And at 8 weeks pregnant, she could not legally obtain an abortion in Ohio. So is this the ideal policy that the far right wants? Is this their idea of a utopian system? when it comes to abortion? Is this what they had in mind? Because look, in a country with millions of people, you're going to run into instances exactly like this. And these are the most irrational reactions you could ever imagine. Like, this is as extreme as it gets. This is as backward as it gets. This is wacky. And this is what we get. So, people need to keep this in mind, man. And if the Democrats end up doing well in the midterms, this will be one of the main reasons why. Because the right has overreached with their abortion extremism. And the polls are clear. The polls show people do not agree with the far right on this issue. Some polls have support for total abortion bans as low as like 6% or 9%. The high polls are like 19% for total abortion bans. This is what we're talking about here. These are the consequences. Actively putting a woman's life in danger to protect an 8-week-old fetus? Denying cancer care as a result? Own it, man. This is what they wanted. This is what they're getting. There's going to be a massive fallout to this, man. And they have it coming. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.